Godzilla is now in New York City.
Monster 01 and 02, commence the attack.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Stomp This Way. Andrew, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Well, that's good. That's good. We're here to conclude our trilogy of The Blob with a film called The Blob.
1980s.
1988 remake.
Mm.
Yes, yes, yes. You excited, Andrew?
Oh, yeah.
You've seen this movie before, right?
Yeah. Duh.
No. I have seen it
Duh.
for a couple of times. It's been a while since I'd watched it, though. So I was excited to revisit it and see if it held up as well as I remembered it. And we'll talk about it. But anyway, you ready to get down to it?
Oh, yeah.
For some production trivia. Did you know that this film features Dale Close, who played the eye patch hobo in Beware of the Blob? Or Beware the Blob, excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah. Only returning actor. This was filmed in Abbeville, Louisiana. It was supposed to be filmed in Abbeville, California, where the film is set. But that Abbeville was covered in snow because it was the winter time and it's like in a mountainous town in Northern California. And so they were like, well, we're not doing that. Let's film it in Louisiana. The fact that the names are similar was a complete coincidence. Production started on January 11th of 1988 and ended May 26th of 1988. New World Pictures initially purchased the rights to remake the film. They were later sold to Cinema Group Pictures. Unfortunately, this movie bankrupted Cinema Group Pictures. I'm sure they had other financial troubles, but paying for this film, of course, didn't help. And so TriStar swooped in and bought the distribution rights and put out this movie. A cutscene from the movie ended up in Ghostbusters 2 as part of the slime attack scene. The Blob was made of methicil in a lot of scenes, which is a thickening agent used in milkshakes. They would place it on miniature sets at 90-degree angles, so it would roll down the model and accomplish effects through various means. But apparently the director, Russell, was reportedly unable to drink milkshakes for several years after.
Wow.
Steve McQueen's son, Chad, was offered a role, but he turned it down. Apparently Chad had a thing about not playing in movies that were sequels to or remakes of his father's movies or something. But he missed out.
Chad.
They did consider using CG to create the Blob, but decided the technology wasn't quite ready yet. But they did use CG for the little sparkle effect on the frozen fragments. Thank God they didn't use CG. This would have looked awful. This movie got Shawnee Smith her role in Saw, as Lee Winnell and James Wan were fans of this film as teenagers and had a crush on her. So there you go. It led to her most famous role, I guess. But you want to hear about some awards this movie won?
Sure.
Well, at the Ivoriaz Fantastic Film Festival, this movie won for Best Special Effects. And it was nominated for the following. At the Saturn Awards, it was nominated for Best Science Fiction Film and Best Music. At the Ivoriaz Fantastic Film Festival, it was also nominated for the Grand Prize. At Fantasporto, it was nominated for Best Film. And at the Young Artist Awards, Shawnee Smith was nominated for Best Young Actress in a Horror or Mystery Motion Picture. Ricky Paul Golding was nominated for Best Young Actor in a Horror Picture, Motion Picture Show, or whatever. And it was also nominated for the Teenage Choice for Best Horror Motion Picture. Nice. Andrew, you want to flip to the next page and tell us about the box office performance?
Well, you see, this movie,
Yeah.
it was released August 5th, 1998.
88.
In 1988.
Yeah.
Budget of $10 million.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
Pretty good.
And but it only made $8.2 million.
Yeah, this was a colossal flop. It was not a moneymaker, and they definitely set it up for a sequel at the end, and did not happen. But it did become a cult hit later on. So anyway, we're going to listen to a trailer, and then we'll talk about the cast and the crew, the plot summary, and we'll get into the ooey gooey details of The Blob. See you in a bit.
If it had a mind, you could reason with it. If it had a body, you could shoot it. If it had a heart, you could kill it. Now, man is no longer the supreme being on this planet.
The organism is growing at a geometric rate. By all accounts, it's at least 1,000 times its original mass.
Nobody believes me about what happened tonight.
What did happen?
You were there, you saw.
Plasmic life form that hunts its prey. Predator.
I want that organism alive.
I think you ticked it off.
The Blob. Terror has no shape.
All right, there it was. That was like
yeah.
peak 80s trailer right there.
Yeah, the heart. You can kill it.
You can kill it. This was directed by Chuck Russell, written by Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont. Frank Darabont, he's a famous Hollywood guy. Music by Michael Honig, starring Kevin Dillon, Shawnee Smith, Jeffrey Leach, Jeffrey DeMunn, Candy Clark, and Joe Seneca. Anyway, you ready for the plot?
Sure.
All right. In the sleepy town of Arborville, a vagrant discovers a meteorite containing a strange gelatinous substance. When the goo latches onto his hand, he runs into the road in agony and is struck by a car driven by Paul and his date, Meg. Along with local rebel Brian, who witnessed the accident, they rush the injured man to the hospital. There, the creature quickly consumes the vagrant. Paul discovers what remains of the body but is attacked and killed by the growing mass. Meg sees the attack, yet the authorities dismiss her story. She later reconnects with Brian at a diner, though he initially doubts her as well. Their skepticism ends when the Blob attacks the diner, killing the cook and waitress. Brian and Meg survive by hiding in the freezer until the creature retreats. Determined to uncover the truth, Brian and Meg head into the woods to find Deputy Briggs at the crash site. Instead, they encounter government agents extracting what they reveal to be a U.S. satellite. The Blob, they explain, is not an alien, but a classified bioweapons experiment. The agents detain Brian and Meg, but Brian escapes. Meg is escorted back to town where she realizes her younger brother Kevin is missing from the evacuation at Town Hall. Fearing the worst, she rushes to the local movie theater and finds the now massive Blob devouring patrons. She rescues Kevin and his friend Eddie, and the three flee into the sewers. The Blob follows, killing Eddie. Kevin escapes through a sewer grate, but Meg is trapped. As government agents attempt to intervene, the distraction allows her to crawl into a drainage tunnel where Brian pulls her to safety. Trapped below by the lead agent, Dr. Meadows, Brian grabs a fallen agent's rocket launcher and blasts open a manhole cover. Back on the surface, Brian and Dr. Meadows face off until the blob suddenly drags Meadows into the sewer. The remaining agents drop an explosive charge, but the blast only enrages the creature, which surges into town on a rampage. As residents are cornered inside the town hall, Brian crashes a snowmaking truck into the building. Meg rigs an explosive to the vehicle's liquid nitrogen tank. When the blob engulfs it, the charge detonates, freezing the creature solid. With the blob immobilized, Arborville is saved. In the aftermath, Reverend Meeker, who earlier collected fragments of the frozen creature, delivers a fiery sermon about the end times. In the final moments, he gazes in awe at a shard of the blob preserved in a jar as credits roll. More or less?
More or less.
More or less the plot of the movie?
Technically, the soldier wasn't fallen. He was injured.
You're right. He was still alive. What happened to him? I don't even remember. They blew open the manhole grate and then...
He got out, and then I think he died when the blob bursted through this road.
Okay. Yeah, that sucks. Well, yeah. So anyway, the movie is a remake of The Blob. Definitely. I think when you get a remake of it in the late 80s with an actual budget this time, $10 million, which for 1988 for a creature feature was pretty solid budget.
Yeah.
You want to see some better makeup effects, more of the blob.
Yeah.
Maybe some gruesome kills. And
more aggressive blob.
I was going to say, this movie definitely took a lot of inspiration from The Thing.
Yeah.
The Blob is The Thing.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. With the way that it, we'll talk about it in Creature Time, but the tentacles and and the way it's very aggressive and in the way it attacks and stuff, obviously doesn't mimic life forms.
More
but
acidic.
It's very acidic, yeah. But when the movie starts, it actually starts with a bit of a fake out. Because I think here in this opening scene, okay, our main character is going to be this football kid, right?
Yeah.
And he's crushing on Shawnee Smith. Who Pre-Saw. This is one of her early roles, and she's a cheerleader.
Yeah,
and they had the little funny gag with he gets tackled out of bounds and hits the Gatorade table or whatever, and she comes over and like, "Are you all right?" And he's like, "Are you busy this afternoon or whatever?"
Yeah,
I'm totally confused because I'm like, what time does this town play their football games? Because it's like midday. I've never seen a football game played before 7 p.m. But whatever. I guess it is further. I guess it is California, and if they play it at, I don't know. They do have different time zones. I don't know. Sunsets later in California, but you think they would still play at 7 in the time zone? I don't know. Anyway, it's weird that it's like the middle of the day. But anyway. But it's a fake out because the next character we're introduced to is actually the main character alongside the co-lead with Shawnee Smith.
Yeah.
And it's the town rebel, Brian Flagg.
Flag.
And he reminds me a lot of, is it Dallas and the Outsiders?
Yeah.
The way he dresses and everything looks almost exactly like that character.
He's a greaser.
He's a greaser. And, but anyway, he's got his motorcycle and he's like, trying to ramp this broken bridge or something, and this homeless man's watching, but his bike stalls out and he crashes and all this.
The homeless man claps and laughs at him.
Yeah, and then walks off. But so it's about 12 or 13 minutes into the movie when the first movie got like right into it. The original movie. We had like a little opening scene with Steve McQueen and the girl, but like the meteorite crashes like in the first 5 minutes. This one takes a little bit longer. Like I said, 12 to 13 minutes when the meteorite comes crashing down. But we're going to do some cutting back and forth because we see, the old man sees it as he's squashing cans.
Yeah.
He's in the credits as the can man. That was kind of funny. But we're gonna see Meg and Paul. You know, Paul goes to pick up Meg, and there's, you know, we are introduced with the family. And there's a joke about before he goes and does that, they're at the pharmacy. This movie's not too self-serious. It's got quite a bit of humor. They go to the pharmacy, and Paul and his friends, I think the quarterback, and there's a joke about getting condoms, and he's like, and the reverend there who is Del Sol from the Beware the Blob, and he's kind of creepy, but the pharmacist comes up while the reverend is giving this kill lecture about not showing up to church, and is like, regular or ribbed, and then he's telling the pharmacist, oh, well, they're not for me, they're for my friend over there. Yeah. And then the joke is that when Paul goes to pick up Meg, her father is the pharmacist, and he's like, ribbed. And, yeah, so I mean, you know, that's kind of funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But anyway, but it does repeat some of the beats, at least, of the original movie. Like, we're gonna get Paul and Meg in the car, and the old guy runs out in front of him. And
the old guy gets it on his hand.
He gets it on his hand. We actually see him come up to Brian, and he tries to cut off his own hand with a little hatchet he has.
Yeah.
But the blob absorbs it. And but he runs out on the road like he did in the original movie, gets hit by Paul and Meg. And Brian's chasing the guy, and so they all three load him in the car, and Paul's like, you're getting in the car too, Brian, because you're going to have to explain this or whatever.
There's a lot of explaining to do.
And I made a joke about, as they were in each other's face, about how this is the 80s heated rivalry. Yeah. And Andrew didn't think it was funny, but I thought it was funny. But anyway. They go to the hospital, and it's, of course, it's kind of a joke at the hospital. They could not care less. And the first question the nurse asks is like, does he have Blue Cross? Anyway. And the doctor is played by Jack Nance, I think is his name, the guy from Twin Peaks. Yeah. Also could not care less.
Yeah.
And but Paul, similar to the original movie, Paul goes in. He sees something moving under the blanket of the patient as they're filling out these medical forms, and he pulls back
he had really good vision. That was a really far away.
Yeah, all the way at the opposite end.
I'm pretty sure I saw a wall in between where he was.
And X-ray vision. No, but he sees it, and he goes and he pulls the blanket back, and of course, the lower half of the guy's body is completely dissolved.
Yeah.
And he freaks out, and he gets the doctor, and the doctor rushes in there, and then he rushes to the phone, but then the blob sneaks into the room and attacks him. And then Meg hears him struggling, and then, Meg opens the office door, and we get the poster shot of the movie where Paul is covered in the blob getting dissolved and reaching for Meg or whatever. And here's where you're like, oh yeah, they definitely upped the gore factor a little bit. And then the movie's on. And
once the blob comes in, it doesn't leave very much.
No, well, I would say the blob definitely has a lot more screen time in this movie. Again, that first movie was on a budget, and this movie they had a lot of money to do what they wanted, and so the Blob's gonna have a lot more screen time. It's even though it's a longer movie, it's 95 minutes compared to 85 of the original or whatever. But Meg is gonna go looking for. Well, I guess Meg is picked. The cops show up, and they pick her up and everything and take her home. Everybody in this town has a hard on for getting Brian behind bars for some reason.
Yeah.
There's a scene earlier where the sheriff has a bit of a turnabout, because at first, in the opening scene or early in the movie, we see the sheriff warned Brian better be careful, boy, because you won't be going to juvie next time. It'll be graduating to the big leagues or whatever. But they pick up Brian, and sort of a riff on the original movie, the sheriff, and you have the deputy, and the sheriff is actually going to kind of be the good guy, and he's be like, oh, we don't have any evidence on the kid, where the deputy Briggs is like, no, we're gonna nail this kid.
The original their sheriff was the good guy also.
Yes, yeah. Which, like I said, it was a little weird because I thought the way that movie, the first scene with the sheriff, you were thinking he was gonna be a real a-hole, but the sheriff was also hitting on the
waitress,
the diner waitress, which that plot line is kind of dropped later, but we'll get there.
Well, mostly because
it is kind of weird because we'll get Meg and Paul and Brian reunite as Paul as Brian's leaving the jail, the sheriff's office, and he kind of blows her off, and
she just keeps following him.
She keeps following him, and he goes to the diner.
He's like, well, you're persistent, aren't you?
He goes to the diner, gets a sandwich, and then she follows him into the diner. And, they're having their little argument or whatever. And the waitress is there. And this is where I really start to get, I think, there was one more kill first. The Paul's friend was out in his car making out with his girlfriend or whatever.
Oh, that's a really interesting scene.
And it's again kind of funny, kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Because he's like getting this girl. He's got like a whole drink making station in his trunk.
He had not just drink making. It's like the whole get up with the.
He's got his spray, his breast spray and
breast spray.
He got like the velvet lining and the little basketball hoop. And,
he has like fruit for all of his stuff
for his drinks. Yeah, and he's like getting her drunk and because he's wanting to get lucky.
Yeah,
and then she passes out. And we think she passes out. She's actually dead, but he's gonna date rape her, I guess. And but it also is kind of funny because he like unbuttons her blouse and then reaches down to her cleavage and he pulls out the blob.
Yeah,
and then like again, it's like, oh, this movie's gonna be fun because like her
face sucks
in, like hollows out and sucks in, and then the blob gets him, and then especially by the diner attack scene, I'm really getting the Thing vibes when the sink clogs up and the waitress can't get it, so the cook comes over and he's trying to plunge it up. I'm like, do they not have a garbage disposal? And he like reaches his hand down in there and doesn't find anything, and then like I think it like launches out and like grabs his head and then like pulls him down into the drain. And then she comes in and they're screaming, and this is where Brian has kind of doubted what Meg saw too because he left the hospital before all that happened. But it's like, oh no, this is happening. And the blob launches out and like sticks to the roof, and there's tentacles going everywhere, and
they just kind of leave the waitress.
Yeah, they just leave the waitress. They're like, no.
They ran into the freezer.
And again, kind of a replay of that first movie where they ran to the freezer at the grocery store. Here in the diner, they're going to run into the freezer. The waitress is going to, like a slasher movie, final girl, going to just like break through the window and go running down the back alley.
I don't know why you would stop at the phone booth right
I was like, this town is obviously really small. Why she would just not just run to the sheriff's station or to the nearest occupied building. I don't know. But she stops at the payphone and is trying to get a call out, and it's not working. And then it's a well-staged scene, though. I like it. The blob comes and covers the payphone. And it is kind of weird, though. Like, the sheriff is just kind of unceremoniously killed off. Like, we don't see his death. But what we presume is his body, it comes like floating across the glass of the payphone.
It's not really presumed. It is his body.
Well, I mean, it is. Well, I'm just saying it's like the audience member. It was kind of hard to tell at first.
Well, it had the
But he had the badge. And that's like, okay, I guess that's the sheriff. And which is kind of weird, too, because I felt...
they on the phone before the blobs took the phone booths, the receptionist lady was like,
this dispatch woman was like, yeah, he went to go check out the diner or whatever.
No, he already went to he already went to the diner.
Yeah, but it was kind of weird because I thought they were setting up a love story with him and the waitress. It's kind of totally
they set up like 3 love stories and they killed off most of those characters.
Kind of dropped, but but anyway. The phone booth breaks and the woman gets got.
Oh, yeah.
And, but it comes into the freezer after them. But of course, it's like the original movie. It gets on the ice and it retreats.
Doesn't like it.
Leaves little shards behind though.
Yeah.
That their reverend will come and pick up later. Anyway, so they go running and they go to the sheriff's station and the sheriff isn't there, and that's where they have their conversation with the dispatch lady.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, she's like, Briggs went out to the.
I don't know where the sheriff went.
Briggs went out to such and such, and he's like, oh, that's where I found the old man, and so they go running out there, but they get found by government agents in hazmat suits.
Yeah,
and you're like, uh-oh, there's a conspiracy.
This is where it really veers off from the original movie.
So then, and they'll watch and they'll see them pull the meteorite out of the ground, but it's actually a U.S. satellite.
Well, that's later.
Is that later? I mean, it's all in the same, basically.
No, it's later. Because he had to go, because that's after they got put in the truck and they went all the way down the road and he broke out of the truck.
Oh, was that after all that?
Yeah.
After all that?
Because remember, it was only him.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's coming back to me now.
Only him that.
Anyway, so yeah, he and Meg get got by these government agents and they're like, oh no, we're here to help you. We're here to contain the
there's a bio outbreak.
The outbreak and blah blah. There's this Dr. Meadows who seems like a nice guy, but he's really not.
No.
But they put he and Meg in this van.
And after, Flag had some not too kind things to say
he
to
tried
him.
to just leave and they were like, get in the van.
Get in the van, son.
And anyway, so they get in the van, but of course Flag breaks out and tucks and rolls. And him and Meg get into an argument and she's like, you only think about yourself. And he's like,
that's before he jumped out of the car.
Oh yeah. And then as after he jumps out, he looks and she just like slams the door back closed. And
see that I ain't getting in trouble.
Yeah. But anyway, then like you said, he goes back and he sees them pulling it out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first movie, it came down in a meteorite. It was the 1950s. It was a metaphor for the Cold War. The Blob was a foreign invader, communist, Soviet communist metaphor, invading the United States or whatever from alien lands. This time, though, this is the 80s. We gotta update it. So, the Cold War is over.
Yeah.
Or about to be over. And now it's, the late 80s. I think we've had the first Desert Storm operation. We've gone through the 70s with the LSD experiments and the AIDS crisis and the war on drugs. And people, were a lot more distrustful of the U.S. government by this time. So now the Blob is going to be more of a metaphor for like the danger from within because it's a U.S. government satellite. It's actually a bioweapon that the U.S. created and sent into space to study. That was created for the Cold War, and now it's came crashing back and gotten out of control or whatever.
Yeah.
So we got to update the metaphor for modern times, And I do like that update. I like that they just didn't repeat that original movie. Like you said, this is where the movie really goes its own way, and we've got a kind of a new storyline. But it's still the same basic movie. It's about a giant pink JELL-O creature eating people. Apparently, the color of the Blob made the matting shots pretty challenging, which is maybe why like you said, the color is kind of dulled and there's a blue filter over a lot of the movie. But anyway, so Meg gets back to town, right?
Yeah.
And she's put, at the town hall where they've gathered all of the citizens. But earlier in the movie, there was that whole thing about her little brother and her brother's friend. Her brother's Kevin.
Yeah.
Like Home Alone. And Eddie, who is always wearing his Walkman even when the movie's on for some reason.
Yeah.
They wanted to go sneak into this slasher movie that's like a Friday the 13th ripoff thing.
That Eddie's brother works at the theater.
He's an usher. This is an old school, even in the late 80s. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there in the late 80s, but I feel like this would have been an old school theater, even in the late 80s. They had the projectionists, they had ushers, they had, all that. But anyway, yeah.
Not anymore.
His brother was an usher at the theater, and so he snuck him into.
Do we ever see Eddie's brother again?
Yeah, when he sticks his head out the window later when Meg's being chased down the alley.
After that, no, we
No,
never
I don't
see
think
it.
we see him after that. But anyway, so we're gonna kind of do a replay of the theater sequence, the most famous sequence from the first movie, right? You gotta redo the most famous sequence of the movie you're remaking. So we're gonna do where the projectionist, this time he goes up in the air conditioning vent and gets got.
Because he was complaining about how hot it was in the projection room.
And then it'll come oozing out of the projectionist room like it did in the last one. And this time, though, it's a lot more violent. Like, it's a big mass. It gets to the middle of the auditorium. The tentacle... Meg comes, she snuck away to go look for her brother.
Yeah.
Tentacles are flying everywhere. People are getting got. But she's able to get Eddie and Kevin out. And they go running down the alley. And we're going to get an alley chase or a sewer chase sequence.
Yeah.
There was a scene I did like they were sneaking out the back of the theater and his hood of his parka or whatever got caught in the door. And I was like, man, a lot of struggle to unzip that.
Remember, that was a plot in the first little bit. That was a plot thing in the first bit where the mom...
Yeah, it was set up earlier where the mom's like, you're not going anywhere without your jacket.
And then she has trouble zipping it up.
Yeah. But anyway, so now they're going to go down into the sewers and we're going to get feels kind of to me like a alligator type. An alligator type movie where they go down and they get chased by the blob and they actually kill a kid in the movie, which I always appreciate. Eddie gets gotten. And she goes in after him, but then he pops out and he's being dissolved or whatever.
Yeah.
And I love that Kevin's just like, leave him.
Leave him.
And they go climbing up the pipe and there's a sewer grate there and he's small enough to fit through, but of course she's not. But then the government agents come in and start shooting the blob. I'm like, what? Bullets are obviously not going to do any good.
They don't know that.
But it obviously, the creature, it bothers it because it turns around and goes after them. She falls back into the water. And, there are some plot contrivances and some conveniences in this movie. Like, she's crawling back up and Brian just happens to, be in the sewer drain and drive by just as...
he went into the sewer drain after he fled.
Yeah, I know. But just happens to be driving by the perfect time to grab her arm and pull her up or whatever. And then they can't find their way back out, but whatever.
Well, that's, they don't know the sewer.
No, I guess they got lost. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I mean, he got in, he couldn't get back out, but.
Well, they won't go in the same way he came in.
Yeah, true.
He was going the opposite way.
But anyway, so they go and they run into one of the agent guys that got attacked by the blob. And he's telling him they're gonna seal this sewer off and kill it. And I'm like, are we just gonna redo the ending of the Chud? It felt that way. Even when they went up to get out of the manhole and he's covered up and he drives the car and sets it on the manhole just like Chud. That was a whole big thing in Chud.
But
another plot contrivance is that the government agent just happens to be carrying a rocket launcher and Brian just shoots it up and blows the car and the manhole cover up and they get out and then they get to the surface and there's a tense... Brian gets a gun and there's a tense standoff between him and Briggs and the government agents and then the tentacles come out and grab Meadows and pull him down and the other guy, the second in command guy, just let's blow it up, boys. And they shoot it for a little bit and then they drop a charge down into the thing and goes
a short fuse charge.
Yeah, and it goes kaboom, and you're like, is it over? But no.
Yeah.
He's like, you just pissed it off. And sort of I don't know, other monster movies, Alligator or Godzilla 98, it comes busting out of the sewer and goes on an absolute rampage to the town. It's reaching out and grabbing everybody and everybody's running. And this is... Again, a little bit of a callback to the first movie. Meg grabs a fire extinguisher and sprays it and notices that it, retreats a little bit.
Yeah.
And they all go running back to the town hall. And I guess Brian heard her say that the cold hurts it or whatever, and so he gets a bright idea. Now, I know, again, a bit of a plot contrivance, I feel like. They did reference early in the movie that they made some kind of reference that this was a skiing town, but the snow hadn't been very good the last couple of years, but it'll be good this year. And so obviously if it's a skiing town, it would make sense if they had fake snow trucks because, they need the fake snow for the ski lift or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they filmed this in Louisiana, so there are absolutely they filmed this in Louisiana, so there's no mountains around. But
to be fair, they were gonna film this in, a different
California
location.
or Colorado or somewhere, yeah.
But it was too snowy.
There was too snowy, and they didn't want to deal with the snow. And I guess they couldn't film it with a place with snow to have their plot about the thing being allergic to the cold or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he gets the fake snow truck and he's spraying it. I guess he's going to drive it in with the thought that it will just absorb it and then, freeze. But it just kind of deflects it and rolls the truck over.
It just kind of swats it away.
And then, covers it and, he's stuck in the cab upside down.
Yeah.
But Meg comes running out. And she shoots at it to get its attention, and I guess the liquid nitrogen tank kind of rolled off the truck or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's got one of those bombs, one of those short fuse charges, and she sticks it on the thing. But then, of course, she trips and gets caught in the cable or whatever.
She tried to jump off, and her foot gets caught, and she's like,
"What?" And but she distracted the blob, so Brian is able to get out of the cab and come and pull her off just in time to
jump out of the way of the explosion.
Even though that short fuse charge didn't go off for a lot longer than that one they dropped down the sewer or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's frozen, and they win. And the one guy makes a comment about better get the dump truck and haul it off before it thaws or whatever. And the end.
The end.
Or is it? Then we cut back and in some I don't know, godforsaken place somewhere in a tent.
To the ice
the
house.
Reverend is he's got his face burned by the blob earlier.
Not by the flamethrower guy.
Yeah, the flamethrower guy who got ate by the blob. And he's got a fiery sermon going about the end times. And then he goes to the back and one of the ladies follows him back and he's got himself a little jar of the
blob.
The blob. And she's like, when will the end times come? And he's like, God will give me a sign.
And holds up the jar of the blob.
Yeah. And then it's
how it hadn't dissolved through the glass jar. Who knows?
Who knows? Not important.
Not important.
Maybe he replaces the jar every once in a while.
He put a coating on it.
Yeah. But no, listen, I think if you're gonna remake a B creature feature like this, I think they hit all of the right notes.
Yeah.
They repeat enough of the plot for the movie to look familiar. They do enough callbacks. The blob is still recognizable as the blob.
Yeah.
But they add in a lot of new stuff. One, obviously they have a lot more money. So they do all the things they couldn't do in that original movie with all the violence and the gore and the dissolving and the blood and guts and stuff. And they have a lot more screen time for the blob. And then they also change it up. Like I said, they update the metaphor to be more relevant for the time, changing it from kind of a metaphor for Soviets to more of a metaphor of, the dangers of the U.S. government. I think the cast does a really good job. I think it's got a good balance of horror and humor. And I think it's a really solid remake. Like I said, there's some plot contrivances. It was like the rocket launcher and the, couple of the characters a couple of times just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And
that's just every movie ever created.
A couple of dropped subplots, maybe like the romance with the sheriff and the diner lady and stuff like that. But, you would expect these things in creature features. Don't expect it to be perfect. But no, I think it's bigger and better, which is what you want.
Yeah.
But yeah. Creature design?
Sure.
All right. Well, it's the Blob.
It's the Blob.
It's got a different consistency, like we said.
Yeah.
They've definitely muted, and maybe it's just the way they made it.
Yeah.
Definitely a more muted color, I think. And they've got like a blue color filter over most of the movie.
It's a lot more thick.
It's thicker, grosser. It has tentacles now.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like those. Some of the times the tentacles, those like sticky hands or whatever, like those sticky rubber things. Sometimes it kind of looks like that. Definitely, like I said, inspired by the creature and the thing in a lot of scenes with the tentacles and all that kind of stuff. So I loved all that. And then it gets bigger and bigger, of course, as the movie goes on. But I like the look of the Blob. I think they pulled it off really well. A lot better than Beware the Blob, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then getting into effects, again, everything to do with the Blob itself is done pretty good. I think the makeup effects are really good. The people dissolving, the way like the old, like, when he sees like the vagrant on the hospital table and his like face bulges out and turns gooey and all that, and like his body's half dissolved, and when she pulls Paul's arm free from the Blob, and the girl gets like her innards sucked in or whatever, and pulling the guy down the drain, and all that stuff looks really good. As far as like the compositing and the matting shots go,
They look okay.
I think it looks pretty good until the end when it comes out of the sewer. And it doesn't look terrible for a movie in the 80s, but there's some shots where it doesn't look great. There's some blue outlines. There's some like stop motion of the tentacles a little bit at the end, I think. Kind of looks a little out of place. Depth perception looks a little off. But it overall really solid.
Yeah.
Really solid. You can tell they had money and they spent it pretty wisely. Bankrupted the studio in the process, but hey, whatever it takes for art, baby. And then the score, I like the score.
Yeah,
I think
it's all right.
it's a solid score. The little rock song they have at the end of the movie, and it's, I think, at the beginning of the movie too, is pretty good. I do think they missed a big opportunity to play the classic Blob song at the over the end credits. That would have just been perfect, but maybe the rights for it are in some weird limbo. But no, I thought the score was pretty solid for a monster movie. Yeah. You ready for some final thoughts?
Sure.
Go for it.
Well, this movie was pretty good and it's not bad. I think it's slightly better than the original.
Yeah.
But the effects in it are really well done. All the tentacles and the way that the Blob, moves around. It loves to get on the ceiling.
Yeah. It loves to get up on the ceiling and like reach down for its prey.
Yeah. And the score is cool. I love the score in this movie. It's, the generic 80s action, horror soundtrack. That is great. And the acting in it, it's not bad, honestly. The acting is pretty good for most part.
Yeah.
Especially the main two characters. They do really well.
Yeah. Shawnee Smith is really good.
Yes.
And so is Kevin Dillon.
All that is good. And I think I'll give this movie, I'll give it a B+.
Yeah, listen, like I said, it does everything that you want a big budget remake to do. It's bigger, bolder, more violent, more creature, raises the stakes, better acting, probably. No offense to Steve McQueen. It's just, they take everything in that original movie, which I love that original movie, but they take everything and turn it up a notch.
Yeah.
Which is what you want this to do. They update the metaphor for the late 80s. They do all that stuff. And I really like this movie. I think it's a really solid creature feature. The makeup effects alone are, worth watching the movie for if you're, into that kind of stuff. It's really impressive. It is kind of aping the Thing, but at the same time, I love that it's kind of aping the Thing. If there's a creature feature to ape, it is the Thing.
Yeah.
But it is kind of opposite because the Thing was in cold, but this creature is allergic to the cold. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a really good remake of the Blob, and I'm with you. I think it's about a B+ movie. So yeah, thumbs up. 2 out of our 3 Blob movies were worth the watch.
Yeah.
Worth the watch. But yeah.
There's no real new news I see.
I don't
week.
have any news really to talk about. Monster, what's the monster thing?
Monsterverse?
Monarch.
Monarch?
Season, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, whatever the heck it's called, will be coming. When does that come out? February 27th?
Sure.
Is that?
I'll go whatever you say.
Does that sound? Does that sound about right? Yeah, February 27th on Apple TV. I did see where supposedly a plot synopsis of Godzilla Minus Zero leaked. I can neither confirm or deny its authenticity, but it sounds interesting if it is real. So if it's out, if you want to know it, it's out there on the interwebs floating around. But other than that, no, I don't really have anything. Do you know what we got coming up on the schedule?
The same stuff that you said last week.
The same stuff I said last week. We've got the Giant Behemoth to finish out February, and then Attack of the Giant Leeches, Beast from Haunted Cave, and the monster that challenged the world.
Sounds like a lot.
And then I've got about a month of unfilled weeks that we're gonna have to come up with something, but
a lot of 50s coming up.
A lot of 50s American atomic bee monster movies coming up. But yeah, I think that's about it for this week, Andrew.
Yeah.
Well, as always, don't forget that you can contact us at stompthisway1954@gmail.com.
And you can find our website at www.stompthisway.wordpress.com.
That's right. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, or X at Stomp This Way. And don't forget to listen to our new podcast, Pulse Check, a horror movie podcast, and check us out over there. But anyway, as always, don't forget the next week is Giant Behemoth. And as always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Andrew.
And we will see you next time.